Welcome to NG Fishing. Today I'm going to show you a second special hook bait mix that I like to use, and this one is what I class as it's a fishy one. It's like a Fishmeal base. So basically with all my hook baits it's the same base mix, so it's like a 50-50. I start off with a 50-50 base mix consisting of soya flour and semolina, and then to that I'll add sort of a little bit of milk powder and vice versa. So that's what I've got in here. So this is what I've done earlier. So in this bag now I'm just making a small mix. So I've got 1 large cup of soya flour to 1 large cup of semolina. Then to that I've added 1/3 of milk powder, just the regular milk powder from Tesco's. And that's my base. That's always my base. Always my base. Now because it's, like I said, I'm going to be doing a Fishmeal base mix. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to add 1/2 cup of my chosen Fishmeal. Now in this one I'm going to be using a flavour shaker from Solo Baits. This is the Super Octopus, and this stuff smells amazing. Now it's not pure Fishmeal, I get that, but it's all the stimulus and flavours in which they use in their baits. So I'm just going to put 1/2 cup of that in there. And this stuff is strong, guys. It absolutely reeks. So if you're doing it in your house like I am now, make sure your wife ain't home. Right, so pop that in there. So that's now my little Fishmeal kind of base mix. So give it a little twist, just give it a little shake, make sure it's all around there. So you want that octopus, that powdered octopus everywhere through the bait. Okay, and then if I open that up for you, there you go. You see it's gone slightly darker as the octopus now is right the way through it, and it smells good. You've got that a little note in there. So we'll pop that to one side. We take a bowl. So as this is just special hook baits, guys, I'm just going to use a 1 egg mix. Okay, so crack an egg in there, put them in your bowl. People like to put shell in it. We're just fishing, doing special hook baits. For me, it's not essential. So flavour wise, now obviously I said it was fishing. So this is a little flavour pot that I ordered online. I'll put the description of the company underneath. And this flavour blend that they've got, it's shrimp and salmon. So I think it's a combination of oils and stuff like that. And this absolutely hums. Right, so I'll take a spoon. A teaspoon's about 5 ml, so I'm going to add 5 ml of that into the eggs. So that's about 5 ml into the eggs. Now they reckon 5 to 10 ml for a kilo, and I'm not making a kilo, so they're going to be quite, they're going to have a bit of smell to them. Just smash that up in there. Make sure that flavour's evenly distributed. Now if you can smell this, guys, it's rank. Okay, now let me just wipe my spoon, because I'm going to need that now. Okay, now into my eggs is where I like to add some of my powdered additives. So in this case I'm going to add a little bit of powdered betaine, or betolin, half a teaspoon, just because it just sweetens it off. Sometimes these concentrated flavours are really like too much. I'm also going to add a bit of robin red. Now in this I'm actually going to add a whole teaspoon of robin red into my eggs. Okay, I quite like the colour, it gives you like little red bits as well. So we'll just smash that up. get all that in there. Okay, so I've got my eggs in there now. I don't know if you see that, they've gone quite red with the robber red. Now it comes down to colour. I mean, that is quite a nice colour, I quite like that, but for this baits I'm going to make them into brown. So I've got some of the dynamite baits, Nash Baits brown dye, and with this, guys, you literally need just a teensy bit. So I'm just going to put just a little bit on the spoon, bung that in there, and we'll mix that up. Starting to darken the egg mix up now as well. Now the last thing, and like I said, it's a fish meal and I'm going for a fishy bait. For years, when people have been making fish baits, they've been putting, you know, other additives in there, and one in particular is banana. Just that little bit of banana just kind of rounds off the flavour. Things like the monster squid from Nash, they used to put a bit of banana in there as well. So I'm just going to literally put a tiny little bit, there we go, it's only a couple of drops of the banana extract, just to give it that little kind of secret tone, if you like, which you don't have to do, but for me it kind of just gives it that kind of uniqueness. So that's my eggs. So what I do now is I will get my base mix. So I've got my base mix there, and all I'll do is go one handful straight in there, and then just slowly mix that in. Now, obviously, with the powdered fish meal in there, you know, that will absorb the egg as well. So what I quite like to do is I'll put, like I said, I'll put a handful in there. I'll mix that through. So it's like a sticky paste. Then I'll leave it. I'll just leave it, give it a couple of minutes. Just let that fish meal that's already in there just absorb any liquid. Because what you can find when you're using the fish meals, obviously the milk protein is the same, is that they will absorb the liquid. So I'll just leave that for a moment now, just tidy up around me, and then I'll come back and start adding more of the base mix. Okay, so I've left that a couple of minutes, and it's, you know, it's not quite as sticky now, so it's, you know, it is absorbing in. So we'll just keep adding base mix in there, a little at a time. I think it's probably going to be it, I think. Just keep it going round. Now it looks really dry, but I know that it is sticky through there. You just got to try and push it into it. And when you can't do that, you just got to get your hands in. Just get your hands in there. Just get all this off the bowl. It's still very sticky, so what we'll do is we'll add some more base mix into the bottom and we'll just work that in. Because if it's too sticky, it's really difficult to roll out. Okay. That's getting there, isn't it? So you're looking for like Play-Doh consistency, basically. You don't really want it sticking to your hands. A little bit of stickiness isn't too bad, but so you can see they're really nice dark brown, just with that little bit of brown, the Nash brown food colouring in there. Okay, I reckon we might be alright there. I think we might get away with that. So it's sticky, but it's not actually sticking to my hands. You see, if you pop it on the back of your hand, there's no residue there. Obviously there is on my hands from not that long ago. So now it's about forming your baits. What do you want from them? So what I'll do is just take the mix, roll it out into sausages. You can buy a gun that will do this for you, but I quite like having different size baits, slightly different shaped baits. So just roll out some sausages. I really do like this colour. It's so it doesn't matter if some of them are thinner than others, because you get like a different style bait. So it's quite straightforward. I'm just using a table rather than doing it in your hands, or I'm using a board here. You can just, it means that they stick better together. They don't break up. Like I said, the reason why I left it just to absorb into the original Fishmeal was just so I can get good rolls from them. So that's just a few. Just rolled a few there, and then I'll bring in my rolling table. There's a few on the market now. I mean, Gardner have been making rolling tables, well, for ages basically. So most tackle shops you'll be able to get a Gardner one from. And then just pop your sausages on. Take your thing, your top, make sure you've got your slit the right way. That on there, in the middle, a couple of little rolls. There we go, and I've got myself some nice little dumbbells there. Okay, it's all fine. They just look like little pellets, to be fair. Do a couple more for you, and then I will. There we go. Got some round baits in there, and I've got some slightly bigger dumbbells. For me, the shape isn't everything. I do quite like having, dumbbells on lakes in particular, where a lot of pellet gets fished. You pop that on, then you're going to do well. So what I'll do is I'll just carry on rolling these baits out, and then when I've finished, so I've rolled my baits. And I've got a selection of different kind of styles. I've got your standard round baits. I've got these what I call pillows. So it looks a bit like a crave. They're quite good. They're quite similar to. It looks like an actual pellet. And then I've got some dumbbells as well. So, and that's just using the one rolling table, but I'm rolling sausages by hand, so they're not all going to be the same like they would if you're from a gun. So I've got choices when I'm on the bank. You know, if I feel that they're being really shy, I can put one of the small little pillows on, or vice versa. So I've just got a pan of water on the boil now. Oh well, hopefully getting to the boil. What I do while I'm just waiting for the pan, I mean that one there is quite egg shaped. So what I do is I just roll it in my hand. Just roll it just to rounding it up a little bit more. You know, and just make sure that they are what I want them to be. I mean, you can always just squeeze them together. You know, and have something completely different. You could have like a little cube, look like cube bait. Remembering that these are purely hook baits. You know, so they don't need to be round. I could do like a you know, look at that. That looks just like a pellet, coloured like a pellet, shaped like a pellet. So yeah, just have a little look. Some of them you might want to just mould around a little bit. That's what happens when you're rolling the sausages by hand, because they're not all going to be the same. They're not going to be the same, which is good. That's what I want. I want to be able to go into my tub and just, you know, pick something out that's going to get me a fish, but you know, I don't mind if it's a little bit different at the same time. Just roll that. This one here, just give me a little. They smell really, really good. That salmon and shrimp combination. And obviously I've got the powdered octopus in there as well, alongside having, you know, a bit of betadine in there, and obviously the robin red as an attractor as well. You know, it's going to catch fish. So that water is just coming up to the boil now. So with these baits, they're not large baits. I'll boil them a minute and a half to 2 minutes. But the baits will tell you as well. If you're boiling them and they start floating, because this isn't a poppet mix, they start floating, then they're ready to be coming out. So that's coming up to the boil now. So what I'll do is I'll put half of these in. Because when you're boiling baits, you want the temperature to stay the same. You don't want to. If I put them all in there, what would happen is the water temperature will drop and they won't be boiling. Basically, you want to give them a short, sharp boil. You just want to boil them quickly and get them out. So that's half my baits in there now. So I'll time about a minute and a half, or until the boilies tell me. Around a minute and a half tends to be the way. But yeah, no, it's quite a nice little dark brown colour. Just that tiny little bit of the brown from Nash in the one egg mix. And if you look really close, I don't know if you'll pick it up on camera, there are slight little red markings in it from the robin red. So I'm just going to grab my box a second. Just got my small little plastic box, and to that I'll add some kitchen roll. Just going to add some kitchen roll into that to absorb any water. You know, when these baits are out, they go straight in there, absorb the water. I'd let them air dry for a bit. What I would say, guys, if you are making these at home, put them somewhere where your wife isn't or girlfriend isn't going to find them, because they have got some smell to them. And in the winter months, it's hit and miss with fishy baits. Sometimes, you know, fish really want a fishy bait, but sometimes the fruit baits seem to be key. Right, so they're floating now, some of those, so they are ready, so they can come out. Just give them a little shake, little shimmy. Okay, so as you can see, like, you know, the colour's washed out a little bit, but what you'll find is as they cool down and as they harden, the dark colour will come back a little bit more. So we'll pop the remaining ones of these in into the pot. So we'll let those boil up and then we'll drain those as well. So with these guys, I'll let them cool down. Like I said, I'll probably pop them in the shed or in the attic out the way. And then what you can do with the juice, you know, the attractor that we used, the one that I purchased for this one, you can just drizzle them on, put them in a little tub, give them a shake, and they will soak them back. They will soak some of it back in. But that's why with these baits I've used, you know, the powder attractor and the liquid attractor. It's very difficult to cook out powdered attractors out of baits. So the octopus flavouring in there will stay in there, but just that kind of shrimpy, salmony smell from the liquid just kind of gives it different dynamics. The liquids tend to be oil based, so they'll be going up in the water where the powdered attractor, the smell would go along, so you'll be picking the fish up from all sorts of directions. So a little bit longer on those baits and then they'll be done. And it's as simple as that, guys. When it comes to making your own hook baits, it's all down to you at the end of the day. All I recommend is that you go for a 50-50 base mix. You start off with 50% soy flour, 50% semolina, and then from that you then add you don't always need to add a milk protein. I like to add a milk protein. Soy flour itself is high in protein, but the milk protein is just something different. Like I said, I'm using a Tesco one. It comes with added vitamin A and vitamin D that they've put into it as well for obviously people. So it's all down to you guys. It's basically being creative, being brave, to be honest. You know, with fishing, I feel you get more out of it the more you put into it. So if you're going to make your own hook baits, the reward catching on your own hook baits is amazing. You know, it's not just something you bought from a tackle shop or you bought from Lesser Fish It Baits. You know, it's something that you've actually had to have a think about and do yourself. So there you go, guys. That's how I make my fish meal. In particular with this one, it's salmon, shrimp and octopus bottom baits. So that's it, guys. That's it for NG Fishing. If you've got any questions about boy making special hook baits in particular, I won't make kilos and kilos of baits. I'm happy with the Fish It Baits range. I mean, with these, I'll fish that over any of the range. Still using the lamprey and frankfurter at the moment. So I'd fish one of those over that, no problem at all. What you can do as well, guys, is if you go onto the Fish It Baits website, they sell the bottles of the flavouring. So you can buy lamprey and frankfurter liquid. So you can make your own baits using that. Maybe you could add something into it, a bit of banana or what have you. So that's it, guys. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. If not, enjoy your fishing.